Hello, good morning, and welcome to this Dawn Bus Taste Challenge we have from 1975, introduced by Seagram's Company in 1975. James Foxe, Canadian blended whiskey. Look like they haven't changed the label. I don't think they have changed the label in 46 years, honestly. But it was introduced with some, advertising splash in 1975 as like a Canadian whiskey for the 70s, and it didn't really do that well. So then 14 years later, Seagram sold it to Sazerac, who's owned it ever since. And I paid $8.99 for this liter bottle. Got a better deal on this last month at Savannah Discount, or the month before they had it for $4.99 or $7.50, $4.99. I bought it. I didn't really need it, but I could use it in taste challenges. I still have a good amount left in this number of taste challenges left. So will you ever see this? It's around here in Louisiana, here and there. Not, most stores don't have it, but some do. See it at some convenience stores, some grocery stores, but I would say 75% of the stores don't have it. Now the next, Crown Royal Black. 75% of the stores will have this. 90 proof introduced. So this is 80 proof, regular standard proof. 90 proof introduced in 2010, the year 2010, AD 2010 by Diageo, owners of Seagram's products such as Crown Royal since the year 2000 when the Seagram's company went kaput. No longer around. The name is around, the company ain't. Okay. Extra aged. Does it get that dark in those charred barrels? I don't know. Maybe they're adding coloring. I was a bit shocked because I did a taste challenge with Crown Royal Black versus the Fine Deluxe, Fine Deluxe. They spell it both ways. Couldn't tell them apart. Blind taste test. Strange, right? That's what happened. Then I did it against the, I went and taste challenged it against the Crown Royal Blender's Mash, Bourbon Mash. Couldn't tell them apart. So I was really kind of shocked, but I said, well, that's the risk of doing a live blind taste test. A lot of people will claim, oh, this one's better than that one, but they're sitting there looking at the products, looking at the labels. And my contention is always, I'm always saying, yeah, but you're looking at it. I mean, that's going to cause problems. And then one guy was saying, well, I don't have anybody to help me. I would do a blind taste test, but I don't have anyone to help me. You don't need anyone to help you. You can help yourself by putting tags at the bottom of the glasses. I'll show you what to do. And have integrity, and you got it. Okay, so let's pour the nose all of a sudden. Let's pour the James Foxe. This one, I'm pretty sure I'll be able to tell them apart. Almost certain. Now, $4.99 for a regular size. This is a liter bottle, but I got the $4.99 regular size bottle at Savannah Discount. Not really the normal. Let's see. Make sure about this. What this embossment? Yeah, 1 liter. I knew it was. You can tell it's a bigger bottle. Are you going to find it for $4.99? I doubt it, but you might if you live close to Savannah Discount. They had a big pallet of it. And the next time I went back, maybe about a third of it was left. People were blowing it out. B Aviation, good morning. Good morning to you. Thanks for watching this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. Now, John and Ilya was kind of insulted last night when I didn't join Panther Cub examination. He joined my examination of chiladas. But I didn't do it as an insult. I wanted to go to sleep because I had been up since 2:45 the previous morning, and I was sleepy. And plus, I wanted to get up for this. So if they had done Panther Cub at 3 in the afternoon, of course, I'd have joined, but a lot of those guys do evening and even late night beer events live. I mean, they'll be 11 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock at night, midnight. I'm asleep or trying to sleep at least. Usually I am, but no insult. I know my sleeping time frame is a little unusual. I go to sleep so early that I'm almost like a night owl. You know what I'm saying? Like, people say, man, sometimes you be posting stuff on alcohol eggs on Facebook at 2:45 in the morning, 2:50 in the morning. I say, I know. So it's sort of like a night owl. I get 7 hours of sleep. You know, I'm feeling good. Okay. Well, as you can see, we got to do this blind because, and I mean double blind. This is so much darker. You know, it's dark mahogany. It's mahogany. This one is just straight up gold. Now, this one makes me think, I mean, it's just a gold and it's slightly amber. And I mean, it's very slight. This one is making me think that perhaps, maybe, possibly, I poured too much for these. I'm sure I shouldn't have poured this much, but it's too late now. I've been up all night. All right. Possibly it was not colored. No coloring added. Yeah, I poured about a half an ounce too much in both. I'm sorry about that, but that was just a mistake. I don't know what the story is on the Crown Royal Black. Does it have coloring added? They're not required to disclose it in Canada. So now when I did the solo review, I was saying Gimli, Ontario. And then after I shut the camera off, I was like, it's Manitoba. I know it's not Ontario. That's where the headquarters is, Toronto, Ontario. But it was too late. I said, I know one of the Canadian viewers is going to point that out immediately. And sure enough, Food Quig was like, that's not in Ontario, it's in Manitoba. I was like, I know. I said it wrong when I was doing the video, and then it was too late. I said, I knew somebody was going to correct me on it. Almost put a note in my notes. Alert, I said it wrong. But I said, oh, well, it's not that important. I noticed a lot of Canadian Canadian whiskey people or beer people, United Kingdom also, they'll be saying, this is made in Omaha now. And then they'll say, where's Omaha? Is that like in Kansas or is it like in Missouri? Like they won't know they don't know every town correctly matched with every state. Just like we in the United States don't know every British town or Canadian town matched with every province or British section. But, we try our best. And especially I was a geography teacher, so I should know. But, I mean, that's why we have reference books. That's why we have road atlases, maps. You don't have to remember everything. Of course, you want to remember important things like London, England, Paris, France, Pretoria, South Africa, things like that. But, Shreveport, Louisiana, you wouldn't necessarily expect everybody to remember that. Okay. Or, Albany, Georgia, something like that. Whoops. That just smells like normal Canadian whiskey, meaning sweet. Corn, distillate. Now, Sazerac, did they change James Foxe after they bought it from Seagram's? Just like they bought the same year, 89, they bought the Canadian Hunter from Seagram's and a whole bunch of other stuff too. I mean, they bought like a dozen and a half brands, something like that. I don't know if they changed it. I suspect that they did because Sazerac, Canada has their own weird style of Canadian whiskey. Like John Anilli always says, they make it taste like they add almond extract or something to it. And I think that James Foxe is part of that regimen. So you would assume you'd be able to tell these apart in a blind taste challenge because of the 10% proof difference, 90 versus 80, and the longer age for Crown Royal Black, and the rather unusual Sazerac house style for their Canadian whiskeys. Price difference, it's up to you if you want to pay about $27 for Crown Royal Black, and that's if you're not, you might have to pay more. You might not be that lucky. But I think I paid $27.99. But, $27 for Crown Royal Black or $5 for James Fox. More than likely it'd be about $8, you know. You probably pay about $8. That's the standard price these days for super cheap Canadian whiskeys. But if you live around here, you might get it for $4.99 like I did, which is craziness. So now Crown Royal is going to have to really shine to be $20 better. Is it going to be a $20 better whiskey? You would think it would be, but we're going to find out right now. Smells darker, roasted, toasted, charred. You know what I'm saying? It just smells darker. You say, but dark is not a smell. Dark is a shade. I know that. I know that. You know that. The American people know that. Taste. I'm going to read the comments. James Fox. Ding, 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 ding. Almond extract. It doesn't use almond extract. Okay. But that would be a natural flavoring. But they used, if you look at the old Canadian regulations, it was like they can use flavorings such as distilled spirits, rum, brandy, bourbon from the United States. They can use any sort of wine as long as it's aged in small wood, meaning a wine barrel. Well, that is such an exotic list of flavorings. I mean, you could add rum. It can't be over 9.9% flavorings, but you could add rum, some kind of white rum, and it could taste like they add an almond extract. You know what I'm saying? You say, what about brandy? I don't know about that. Yes, but what about all these? Think about all the wines they could be adding. Marsala, Muscadine, sherry. Now the sherry is the one I think would give it that almond extract, that nut flavor. Sherry's got a nutty thing. Like if you take I don't know about cream sherry, but like that cocktail sherry, go buy some Sheffield's cocktail sherry or Fairbanks cocktail sherry, and you'd be like, whoa, did they put nuts in here? You know, you would almost think they soaked nuts in it and then strained it. They didn't, but you might think they did. Okay, so this is the Crown Royal Black, obviously. Haha, got it. On aroma only. Sun is oh, well, no, I didn't get it on aroma only, but I was pretty sure. Remember I said it was darker smelling, and then that one had the nut extract taste. Sun is starting to come up here. Not here yet, but you must be in Eastern time. Good morning, Jay, says Mellow Martian. Good morning to you. Mellow Martian said, I know it's not really your thing, but I think it would be neat if you reviewed the new Bud Light Seltzer Lemonades. Yeah, I probably never will, though. Daryl Macias, good morning. Good morning to you, Daryl. Got to cut my hair today. Got to trim the beard, cut the hair. Row the boat, chop the tree. Okay, do you think the seltzer market is getting saturated? Yeah, it's pretty obvious to everybody. I mean, they always do that. You know, something gets hot, seltzers, and then everybody starts putting it out. And they'll be failing as fast as they're coming out. You know what I mean? Like you'll see some brands being discontinued before the other ones are already on the market. Every company is coming out one. Yeah, so it's guaranteed to fail eventually. It's just going to crash. You know, people are going to get sick of stinking seltzer. I don't really like them. I mean, they're okay if you want to drink a seltzer water style beer. And if you look at the label, it says very discreetly on those flavored beer. Of course, it could be beer made from sugar cane instead of barley. They allow that. Look at your regs. Look at your regs, man. But I just don't get it. I don't know why somebody would want to drink that. Now, other people say, well, I don't get it. I don't know why somebody would want to drink whiskey. I hate whiskey. Okay, fair enough. Some people hate beer, but they don't mind seltzer. So maybe seltzer is a good alternative for people that don't like the traditional flavor of beer. Fine. I'm not like existentially opposed to the beer seltzer style things. I mean, I don't care if people want to drink them and they have all the fancy and the numerous labels and the little gimmick here and the that there and the this and the that and the bada bing, bada bing. It's fine. Flood the market. Maybe it'll go on forever in an incessant growth pattern, but you know it won't. But it's fine. But I'm just not into addressing it. I understand my wife just likes them, and I think she'd like to see your opinion on them, or why I was saying that. Yeah, I mean, if I could force myself to do a few more, I would. But I see them all the time, deals. forever seeing a deal. And I'm like, no, I can't make myself do it, you know? I don't really want my alcohol to taste like candy. Haha. Now, I do a lot of those flavored beers. They're more traditional flavored beers. They're not like the seltzer style. Those taste more like beer because you can pick up the pale malt underneath the underbody, the pale malt, barley malt. But I mean, I'm not going to say I actually drink those on purpose. Like if you looked in the fridge, you would not see those except for like one of each, like one flavor each to do a review of, not as an everyday drinker. Look in the fridge. Now you're going to see natural light, natural ice, and Coors Banquet. That's the standbys right now. And that's literally what I drink after work, things like that. But yeah, the flavored beers, I do review them for a review, but never drink them as a regular thing. Because I'm not opposed to it. It's just if you want to do it, go ahead. Drink Red's Apple, Wicked Apple all the time. But it's too sugary for me. And I can barely stand drinking them. You said, well, you gave it an A. How can you give someone a 95 and then you can barely stand drinking it? Because it's not my style. It's not what I like. You see, but still, I can tell it's well made and it's well made in the style. You see, you understand? The seltzers have no bodies. Shandies are pretty good. Yeah, shandies are okay. Seltzer beers taste like sugarless Kool-Aid that's been carbonated. That's pretty much what they taste like. But like White Claw, in 2019, they had trouble keeping it in stock in the whole New Orleans area. It would sell out in like an hour. And it was always near Dillard University, Tulane University, University of New Orleans, Xavier University, Southern University of New Orleans. You get the picture? It was all college girls mainly, I guess, buying it and drinking it like it was just something they wanted to do. I mean, that's what they like. White Claw. Yeah, so I mean, if they like it, they like it, you know. Now, around here, it didn't really sell that well. It sold okay, trickled out. But in New Orleans, it's crazy popular because it may not be that popular now because it might be running after the newest one. But this is not a university town, so I'm in college. So many people like them. See, there you go. Now, back to this so I can get off the air. I'm going to go walking in that cold weather and be miserable. White Claw in North Alabama is pretty popular as well. See, I mean, it's all over the United States. It's wildly popular, you know, right? But let's break this down. You got sugary sweetness, sweet corn. You could taste the corn. It's not, obviously, if you could taste it, it's not grain alcohol, grain spirits. They use different terminologies for the same thing. Scotch whiskey, Irish whiskey, American blended, Canadian blended. They use a bulk, about 80%, could be lower, can't be higher in the USA, or it's not called whiskey. You have to call it spirit whiskey. You can't call it blended. But about 80% just distillate, no flavor, hasn't been aged or anything. Now in Canada, they do have to eventually age it 3 years in a wooden barrel. The flavor is going to come from the other 20%, the bourbon, the rum, the brandy, the corn could be corn whiskey that's aged, called corn high wine, rye high wine, which is like super high proof whiskeys. They got to bring it down to, eventually got to bring it down to whatever proof they're going to sell it at, 90 or 80. Canadian whiskey generally has a little bit higher rye content than American, but they used to call it rye. Drinking whiskey and rye, saying this will be the day, you know. This one's okay. James Foxe is okay, but it's very much like the rest of the Sazerac lineup, except for Royal Canadian, and that one's different. But it's like the Canadian Hunter, the Albertsons, which they no longer make, the Caliber, the what's the one they make now at Albertsons instead of Albertsons? It's called Canadian Crest. Yeah, Canadian Crest. They're like the same. You say, well, they're just taking the same whiskey and bottling it with different labels. You would, I kind of believe that. I would believe that. Is that allowed? I don't know. I don't know that part of it. But when I've done taste challenges blind, they don't always taste exactly the same. Okay, but they're so very similar. They may as well be the same. The Northern Lights, another one that's in that vein. Now it's like repulsive to Johnny Nilly with Georgia Beer Review. So he's like, oh, I can't stand that. Me, I don't mind it. I kind of like almond flavor and kind of this nectar thing. So I don't mind. Oh, Canadian Limited is another one in that vein. The very popular whiskey you see around, Canadian Limited. Rich and Rare, not the Reserve, but Rich and Rare, the run-of-the-mill one. They all have that. And my friend David Garlipe was like, it tastes like licorice. Well, I don't get that, but I can see that it's an unusual thing, and maybe you would think that. Now, over here at the Crown Royal Black. It's cold there. Yeah, it is. I mean, relatively cold, about 52 degrees. More on topic. I do enjoy Crown Royal products quite a bit. I just never had Foxe. James Foxe is okay. Personally, I'm more of a country boy can survive kind of guy. Says Dixie Baseman. Okay. Country boy can survive. Now, the Crown Royal, you can pick up the charred oak. That's clear. Which gives it that bourbon-esque, bourbon-type flavor, and that's what they're shooting for, but they're not going to say it. Well, they do say it in the description. Talk about a bourbon-like quality. But they can't call it bourbon. You say, well, it's basically like bourbon because it's mostly corn and it's aged in charred oak. Exactly. Are they allowed to call it bourbon? Exactly, no. Because that's a U.S. law. So they don't call it that. They got in trouble with the bourbon mash. They never said it was bourbon. They said it was a bourbon mash. Oh, no. They had to change it to blender's mash. So it wouldn't matter if something was 80% corn, aged in never before used charred oak barrels for at least 2 years. You couldn't call it straight bourbon because if it was made at the foot of the bridge in Windsor, Ontario, at the foot of the bridge where you could look across and see the United States, couldn't call it bourbon. Now, if you took that same recipe and went on the Detroit side of the bridge in Detroit, then it's bourbon. See? You say, well, that's just a technical difference. It's not a practical difference. You're right. In a practical sense, many of these Canadian whiskeys are very, very, very similar to bourbon. And Crown Royal Black will be one of the most prominent examples. Good morning again, Kingdom Brother. Personally, I'm more, okay, Windsor, I love it there. Yeah, they have a good Chinese restaurant in Windsor. Then the bathroom's in the basement. Now, when it comes to bourbon, I do prefer Jim Beam, honestly. It's pretty good and good for a price, too. Mellow Martian says, yeah, I like Jim Beam. I need to revisit it. I got that Prohibition repeal, though, from 2018, and I still can't get through that bottle. It's not that I don't like. I can't get through it because it's taken me so long with the taste challenge, what I'm meaning to say. All right, let's get to it. Is the Crown Royal Black better? Almost confused myself. As they say in merry old Wales. Is the Crown Royal Black better? Canadian whiskey. I think, yes, it is. In my opinion, it's a better product. Well, it ought to be better. It's $27 as opposed to $8. Or in my case, $5 minus a penny, $4.99. $4.99. Can you imagine that? On the other hand, is James Foxe some terrible bum garbage that only alcoholics and vagrants drink? No. I know people that are self-respecting, have a job, just want to save money, go to Savannah Discount, or where else I saw it? Oh, Total Wine and More has it. What am I thinking? They have it, but not for $4.99. I know that much. Nah, it's just people that want to save money, and They maybe like that sweet. It's hard to describe. It's like a sweet flavor. It's almost like a donut glaze. You ever had a glazed donut? People say, who hasn't had a glazed donut? And you know, the sugar on it, it kind of tastes like that in a way. It's unusual. I'll give it that. If you ever want to try a whiskey that tastes like almond extract and a glazed donut sugar, well, get James Foxe. Now that's a bit strange, isn't it? But okay, question of the hour. So let's go with the normal price of James Foxe, $8 a bottle, not the weird Savannah discount price that I got it for $4.99. Is the Crown Royal really worth $20 more? The Crown Royal Black. Why it's gotta be black? Good morning, drinking buddy. Cheers to you, Drewski Brewski. See, I'm a tasting buddy, Drewski. I'm tasting. I'm not drinking like to get totally rampaged, you know, or as my father would say, I'm not drinking to get swashbuckled, you know. Have you ever had Climax moonshine? No, I've never had any moonshine, actually. The most important question would be, is the Crown Royal $20 better? Yeah, that's the question I'm trying to get to. Is the Crown Royal Black $20 better? Now, this I'm not too sure about. I got to think about that. Would I really pay $20 every time I bought these to get this more developed flavor? Get charred oak, more of a molasses, like a blackstrap molasses flavor, I think. You notice I didn't talk about rye. I don't think either one of these have much rye spice. I'm gonna tell you the truth. Like some Canadian whiskeys would be like a black pepper rye spice. No, but these don't really. These are more sugar oriented. You say, you mean like rum? I think that's exactly what I'm talking about. In some ways, now let's be careful. In some ways, the Crown Royal Black does have a Bacardi black rum type quality. You could perhaps trick someone and tell them without them thinking, like if they were busy talking and running their mouth, you know how some people be very distracted doing that, including us. We're that way too. And you said, oh, you want some Bacardi black? Oh yeah, man, yeah. And you gave them this Crown, it's the same shade. You gave them the Crown Royal Black, and they'd be talking, oh, I love Bacardi Black. There's nothing like it. You could never mistake it. And you could be like, you could be like Jerry Seinfeld when remember his friend bought the 1982 Chrysler LeBaron because John Voight owned it previously. And Jerry was like, a 1982 Chrysler LeBaron. Like he thought that was strange. Like, it's a totally bizarre used car to buy, a Chrysler LeBaron convertible. And then his friend, I can't remember his name, was like, George, yeah, he's saying, well, I couldn't mention that John Voight owned it previously. He said, John Voight? That's why he bought it, so he could go around showing off to his friends. And but then he said he even had a pencil that he bit on, and it had his teeth marks in it, tooth marks in it. But Jerry said, isn't John Voight spelled with Jon? Because he found a letter in the glove box, like a little document that said John, John. He said, this says John, John. Then he started laughing. And that's how you would be with your friend if they drank the Crown Royal Black and was claiming it was Bacardi Black because they weren't paying attention. Then you'd be like, and they would tell you, get out, you know. I guess it's worth $20 more. Crown Peach is sweet. For me, I do like the Crown Royal product, so I've never had the peach. I've never had any Crown Royal flavored whiskey. I've actually never really had any flavored whiskey. I've tried the Fireball. I bought one of the little 50 milliliter bottles. I would never drink it on purpose. You know, I know women. It's always women. You say, well, I'm a man. I'll beat you up if I see you. I drink Fireball every day. I'm no sissy. Okay, all right. But I'm saying generally, I know a lot of women that love Fireball because I'm thinking about all these women. I can think of their face in my head. Going to drink me some Fireball. And they just love it. And I'm looking at it like, "Ugh." And I drank some of that, and it was like, gave me the shivers. It was so nasty, you know. Is it quality made? Yeah. Is it nasty to me? Yeah. All it is it's Canadian whiskey, might be James Foxe for all we know, with cinnamon in it. Look at Jack Daniel's Fireball, whatever they call their variant. They told us at the distillery, you know how we get it like that? I had no idea. They said we soak red hots in it. That's all they do. Take red hots and soak it in there for I don't know how many days. I said, boy, that sounds like something I want to buy. Orlick Golden Slice. It's like giving someone a bowl of Sam Gawith St. James Flake and telling them it's Orlick Golden Sliced. Right. Okay. What they call that? I would say it's arguably $20 better. But you could make a pretty strong case that it's not really $20 better. Because the James Foxe does have a lot of approachable and quality, you say quality, and quality aspects to it. You know, it does, you understand, it does have some goodness to it. I like the Sazerac house style. It's strange. I'll agree with that. But there's something about it I like. I do sort of like it. So, nose, my nose. I'm going to say I don't know. Man. I'm going to say maybe it's worth $20 more. Really, that's the best I can do. I'm sorry, I'm trying to be honest. The best I can do is to say maybe it's worth $20 more. Let's leave it at that. Now, the other thing that's unquestionable, that's without a doubt, you can very easily tell them apart. There's no way, and I knew this before I did the video, there's no way you're going to confuse Crown Royal Black with Sazerac's James Foxe. It's impossible, unless you have no tasting ability. But I bet you almost everybody could get it right. It's still troubling to me that I could not tell Crown Royal Black from the regular Crown Royal and the Crown Royal Blenders Mash, Bourbon Mash. Well, that just goes to show you that Crown Royal obviously has a very distinct and consistent house style, meaning that most of their whiskey is going to taste very similar one to the other, which begs the question, is it really worth paying more for the variants? Are you getting more? So far, no. Blind taste test would tell us that. But I'm still running around in the $25 to $32 range. So what if you get the Crown Royal XO and the XL and the Reserve and all of these ones that's $40, $50, $60, $150 a bottle? Are they going to be a lot more developed and distinguishable? I would think so. I would hope so. It's still weird, though. It's still strange because you take something like Johnny Walker Black, Red Label. No, I can't talk about that because I haven't had the black and the double black and the platinum and the green. I mean, I jumped the gun. I went and bought Johnny Walker Red. Then the next thing I'm buying is Johnny Walker Blue. You know, so yeah, it's a lot different. Better be. What's the first beer you ever tried? Like when you started drinking in 1996? Oh, that's very easy to answer. It was Miller High Life. Miller High Life. I bought a 6-pack of the little pony bottles. It was so cheap. It was like $1.99. And maybe it was $2.99, but I think it was $1.99. Because I wanted to buy something small in case I didn't like it. Now I drank one and I was like, I think this is workable. I wanted to know why people want to drink beer all the time. I kept thinking, they drink beer all the time. I mean, like, what's the big attraction? So I drank the High Life, drank it straight out the bottle the first time. And I thought, you see, this could be something to work on. So I said, I think what I'll do is I'll try every other beer made on the, you know, it's in production. So then I went and bought the, well, you know what I did? I bought the Budweiser, the Coors Banquet, the Pabst Blue Ribbon, the Schlitz, And then I did all the lights. They were similar, but they weren't the same. So then I just went to the whole. So now it's been 25 years, and I've been going through all the different brands. Got a long way to go. Won't ever achieve the goal. Half of us could never remember what the first beer our dad ever gave us as kids. The first beer I ever drank as a 2-year-old was probably Miller High Life or Schlitz, or could have been Dixie or Falstaff, because when I was a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old, my parents would be having a barbecue or a crawfish boil. You know, you always say, let me have some, let me have some. And the parents let the baby drink out the bottle. And I remember it would be hot on that back patio in the sun. And it always tasted so good when you're a little kid, like 2 or 3 years old, and you're sipping the beer out the bottle and it's in the heat and you're barefoot, you know, it tastes so good. And my father says, all babies love beer. So I used to love it. And then in 1986, when I was 18 and I went back to trying beer, I tried Miller Lite and I didn't like it at all. I said, what is this? It seemed hollow, like it had a hole in it, like the beer had a hollow. It was something missing from what I remembered from 1970, 71. And I thought, oh, beer is trash, you know. But that was my father. He was drinking Miller Lite and Coors Light back then. So 10 years went by before, almost 10, not quite 10 years, but almost 10 years. You know, it was 9 years and 8 months, 9 months. And I tried it again, and it was High Life. And it didn't have that hollowness. But I know now it's the light beer. The light beer cut out the body. So I think in 1986, if he'd have had regular Schlitz in the fridge, which he'd have never had, because he said terrible things about Schlitz, not about the quality, about who drank it, which I thought was awful. Because I asked him one time driving in a van in 1985, I said, why people don't drink Schlitz anymore? I used to, my whole life, I grew up hearing about Schlitz. Every time you turn your head, there was a Schlitz commercial on TV. But then I remember one day I realized nobody's drinking Schlitz. I said, what happened to Schlitz? He said, Schlitz? That's a beer. I looked at him like he was crazy. I said, what? But if he'd have had that in the fridge, I think I'd have started this 10 years earlier. And I could have saved 10 years of waste drinking soft drinks, Coke, Pepsi, RC Cola, and all that, Dr. Pepper. I could have saved 10 years of feeling bad. I started drinking beer and I stopped drinking soft drinks and I never felt bad again. I said, oh, I see why I felt bad all the time. I was drinking stinking soft drinks. But anyway, last comments and we out of here. Dude, can you? I do remember some things of when I was 2 years old, yes. Everything from 3 years old. But 2 years, you know, 2-year-old, it'd be kind of spotty memory. But from 3 years old and upward, yeah, I can pretty much remember every day, more or less. So I remember my 3-year-old birthday party clearly, very clearly. I could basically remember where everybody was standing when I tried to blow out the candles. You say you're lying. I'm not lying. I remember the cake. It was brown, and my mama used M&Ms, you know, different color M&Ms to decorate it. Only had 3 candles on it. I remember my Uncle Peter had his girlfriend Leslie over there with her octagon glasses. I remember very clearly. And I was in Metairie, Louisiana. It was a good birthday party, of course, typical birthday party for a 3-year-old. But so yeah, from age 3 years old and up to today, yeah, I can remember it all. Before 3, I can remember much of it. And it's certainly I can remember sipping the beer and thinking it was great. And they weren't drinking stouts. They weren't drinking imperial stouts. They weren't drinking porters and ales, English ale. They were drinking Schlitz, Falstaff, Miller High Life, and that's pretty much it. Hello, Ron. Hello, Maxwell. The first beer my dad let me sip was in the early 2000s. It was Natural Light. I think it was 2002 or 03. Just know I was 5 or 6. Okay. I think my first was Bud Light, like at 14 years old. Deepa Cote. What? It also, okay, Miller High Life is a good choice in my opinion. Okay, I agree with that. Half of us could never remember the first beer. Okay. It also shows the quality of the recipe from Crown Royal, which goes to show you Carlo Rossi had it right. If you can't taste the difference. Oh, this is a good point. Dixie Baseman says, if you can't taste the difference, why pay the difference? Exactly. If you can't taste the difference, why pay the difference? And I've tried to talk to people about that. These are people that are clearly not really discernible beer drinkers. They guzzle beer, they don't taste it really. And I'm like, why are you paying all that for Miller Lite? Why don't you just buy Milwaukee's Best Light? Milwaukee's Best Light. You could save $5 a case. Oh no, I would never drink that garbage. And I tell them, you ever had it? I wouldn't drink it. I was like, oh, you wouldn't drink it, but you never tried it. In fact, no, never tried it. Aren't going to do a blind taste test. So therefore, I don't care. Let them pay $5 every time they buy it. It's not my money. They can't taste the difference. I know in a blind taste test, they'd never be able to get it right. But they can't taste the difference, but I'm going to let them pay the difference. Me, I'm not going to do it. So anyway, the mystery of the hour is Crown Royal Black really $20 better than the James Fox. I have doubts. I have serious doubts about that, but I would have to say it's your call. In this case, it's your call. It's up to you. It's your money. Buy what you want. Certainly interesting trying both. Thanks for watching this video production.